Being ignored by your own adult child is a unique form of torture. It is not a sharp knife, it is a slow poison. It is the text message that sits read but unanswered for days. It is the birthday that passes with a generic Facebook post instead of a call. It is the feeling of being invisible in the life of the person you once carried in your arms. This persistent ignoring sends a brutal message: you don't matter. It leaves you oscillating between rage and despair, wondering if you have been erased from their world entirely. You try harder, you reach out more, you speak louder, but the more you chase, the more invisible you become. But Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist who survived the camps by finding meaning in the midst of absolute dehumanization, teaches us that we are never truly powerless. Even when we are ignored, we retain the power to act. However, the action required is not what you think. It is not about screaming louder to be heard. It is about changing the frequency of your own life so that your silence becomes more powerful than your words. Frankl's logotherapy suggests that when we are ignored, it is often because we have allowed our dignity to become dependent on another's attention. To change the dynamic, we must first change our own internal posture. Today we will explore immediate, actionable steps inspired by Frankl's wisdom to shift this painful dynamic. We will learn how to stop feeding the cycle of pursuit and retreat. We will discover how to use paradoxical intention to disrupt their pattern of ignoring you. And most importantly, we will learn how to reclaim your own worth so that their attention, while desired, is no longer the oxygen you need to breathe. It is time to stop waiting to be noticed and start living a life that demands respect. The first step to changing the dynamic is to understand the mechanism of the chase. Frankl identified that human relationships operate on energy. When you are ignored, your anxiety spikes. You feel a vacuum of connection, and your instinct is to rush in and fill it. You text again, you call to check in. You ask, "Did you get my message?" This is the chase. And in the physics of relationships, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. The more you chase, the more they retreat. Why? Because your chasing energy feels heavy to them. It feels like a demand. It signals that you are empty and need them to fill you. This is repelling. An adult child who is already struggling with their own life, or perhaps dealing with guilt about not calling, feels overwhelmed by your neediness. They ignore you not because they hate you, but to escape the pressure of your pursuit. To change the dynamic immediately, you must halt the chase. Cold turkey. This is not a game, it is a boundary. You are resetting the energetic balance. When you stop chasing, the pressure valve releases. They suddenly have space to breathe. And in that space, they often begin to wonder, why did Mom stop calling? Or is Dad okay? By stopping the chase, you create the vacuum for them, inviting them to step into the space you have vacated. The second action is a strategic application of Frankl's paradoxical intention. This technique involves doing the opposite of what your fear dictates. Your fear says, if I don't reach out, they will forget me forever. Paradoxical intention says, I will embrace the silence. I will consciously choose to be silent for a specific period. Act immediately by setting a time frame for yourself, perhaps 2 weeks or a month, where you initiate zero contact. Tell yourself, I am not being ignored, I am choosing to fast from communication. This reframes the experience from victimhood. They are doing this to me, to agency. I am doing this for myself. During this time, if the fear arises, greet it, but do not obey it. Use the silence to observe your own dependency. This paradoxical action disrupts the pattern. Your adult child is likely used to you being the initiator. When the initiation stops, the pattern breaks. They are forced to confront the silence themselves. Often, this disruption is the only thing loud enough to wake them up from their apathy. You are changing the dance steps, which forces them to change theirs. If something in these words reached a part of you no one sees, you're welcome to support the channel through the thanks button. It helps keep this space of compassion alive. The third action is internal, building your inner citadel. Frankl taught that our true value comes from within, from our conscience and our choices, not from external validation. When you are ignored, it hurts because your citadel has breached walls. You are letting their behavior storm your castle and sack your self-esteem. Act immediately to fortify your walls. This means defining your worth separate from your role as a parent. Write down 3 things you value about yourself that have nothing to do with your children. Are you a loyal friend? a creative gardener, a seeker of truth. This is your citadel. When you are secure in your own worth, their ignoring of you loses its power to devastate. It becomes a disappointment, yes, but not a disaster. You shift from being a needy parent to being a dignified individual. This shift is palpable. People are naturally drawn to those who are self-possessed. By securing your own citadel, you become someone they want to visit, rather than someone they feel obligated to rescue. The fourth action is a cognitive shift Frankl often employed, moving from "why is this happening" to "what does this ask of me?" Asking "why are they ignoring me" leads to a rabbit hole of speculation and self-pity. It is a dead-end street. Instead ask, what does this silence ask of me right now? Does it ask me to be more patient? Does it ask me to focus on my marriage? Does it ask me to learn a new skill? This question empowers you. It turns the painful situation into a meaningful challenge. Perhaps the silence is asking you to address your own anxieties. Perhaps it is asking you to learn how to be alone without being lonely. By answering the call of the moment, you become active rather than passive. You are no longer waiting for them. You are working on you. This vibrancy is attractive. It changes the dynamic because you are no longer stagnant. The fifth action is about how you re-engage when the time is right. When you do eventually communicate after your period of silence, do not send a guilt text. "I guess you're too busy for me." Instead, send a value-based signal. Frankl believed meaning is found in values, beauty, truth, love. Send a message that offers value without demanding a reply. "Saw this beautiful sunset and thought of you. Hope you have a great day." That's it, no question mark, no emotional hook. You are simply broadcasting a signal of love and beauty. This changes the dynamic from transaction, "I text you, you owe me a text," to gift, "I give you this thought, freely." It signals that you are thinking of them with love, not with need. It is a low-pressure way to keep the bridge open while respecting their space. It trains them that hearing from you is a positive experience, not a guilt trip. The final action is the hardest but most transformative: radical acceptance. Frankl taught that we must accept the tragic triad of life, which includes unavoidable suffering. Sometimes, despite our best efforts, an adult child will remain distant. Radical acceptance means looking this reality in the face and saying, even if they never change, I choose to live a full life. This is not resignation, it is liberation. It means you stop putting your life on hold. You stop keeping the guest room ready for a ghost. You start using the good china for yourself. You plan your holidays without building them around the hope of their visit. When you radically accept the situation, you stop fighting reality. This releases a tremendous amount of energy that was tied up in the struggle. You become lighter. And paradoxically, when you stop needing them to be different, they often feel safe enough to come closer. But even if they don't, you have saved your own life. You have honored Frankl's teaching that meaning can be found in every moment, even the lonely ones. When your adult child ignores you, it feels like the world has turned its back. But Viktor Frankl reminds us that we do not have to turn our back on ourselves. By stopping the chase, applying paradoxical intention, building our inner citadel, shifting our questions, sending value-based signals, and practicing radical acceptance, we change the dynamic immediately. We move from the position of the beggar to the position of the sovereign. We reclaim our peace. We prove to ourselves that our dignity is not up for vote. And we create the healthiest possible space for our children to eventually return, not because we forced them, but because we became the kind of people they want to be around. The silence ends not when they call, but when you stop waiting. Act today, reclaim your life. If this video gave you a new tool to handle the silence, please share it in the comments. What is one action you will take today to build your inner citadel? Your strength inspires us all.